Um, Good morning, everyone. This has been the fantastic second day of the event, and I'm excited to introduce you to Professor Choudhary, who is the Vice Chancellor of the Gati Shakti University. So when I got the invite for this event, saying that I have to have a fireside chat with him, my first question was, what is Gati Shakti University? And I have had the fortune of reading up about it, and the more I read about it, the more excited I was. I have never seen anything like this in India. The first question I'd start with, a bit of a rapid fire in the session. The Prime Minister has, Honorable Narendra Modi ji, has unveiled a Gati Shakti mission. I think it's about a year and a half back, 2022. Can you tell us how that mission, the policy, and the vision from that document has essentially precipitated setting up an university that's so unique in India? And how do you, from there, start the journey and where you have been?
Yeah. Thank you, Nasscom, for inviting me. First and foremost, very important question that you asked. That is actually the context of this university called Gati Shakti Vishwavidyalaya. India is fast developing and will be a developed country by 2047. Infrastructure is one of the very tangible thing that one can see around and say whether a country is developed or not. You can look at the roads, you can look at the railways or ports or aviation to see whether a country is developed or not. In order that infrastructure grows at a fast pace in a seamless manner and in a coordinated manner with an integrated approach between different ministries, PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan was launched in October 2021. Since independence, this is the single biggest national plan in the sense that it is of the size of 100 lakh crore, that is $1.2 trillion worth of USD. If we look at India's current economy size, I think it is almost 40% of that economy size is the PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan. What does this National Master Plan do? So far, the infrastructure development in India was happening in pretty isolated manner to say. For example, if a road were to be built, one never knew after how many days road will be dug up to lay an optical fiber cable, or if a rail were to be built. One does not know when a forest land issues will appear, therefore running into a cost overruns or schedule overruns. In order to make sure that these ministries talk to each other, 16 ministries and 42 departments joined hands together under the PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan, which is basically digital plan leveraging the geo satellite data coming from BISAG, and that is how this whole plan was conceived. Therefore, now onwards, since October 2021 onwards, every single infrastructure project in India worth 500 crore or more is approved by a network planning group at the Government of India level, which takes the inputs from all the related ministries, and only then a project is approved, therefore creating a significant amount of synergy that will help us to accelerate our progress and will contain the cost and schedule overruns that India was earlier known for. So that is one very, very important developmental plan and the initiatives. Second part related to this somewhat is the logistics. The cost of logistics in India, that is the cost of moving goods, people or things in India, currently are quite high. They stand at 14% of GDP, whereas in a developed country, the cost of logistics is roughly around 7 to 8% of GDP. How does it impact us? It impacts, for example, if the coal is mined in Jharkhand and Bihar and those areas, but need to be used in the thermal power stations elsewhere, and if the cost of transporting coal from where it is and where it to be used is very high, ultimately the consumers end up paying more. Similarly, therefore, cost of logistics has an impact on domestic prices. Similarly, if handicrafts are made and they were to be exported, and the cost of moving from where they are designed, developed to the ports, and from there they are exported out of the world, if the cost is very high, it impacts the export competitiveness of our products. Therefore, the cost of logistics has a very, very significant bearings as a country on how do we go ahead. Today, our economy is 3.5 trillion, but by 2047, we move to 35 to 40 trillion dollar. And when this 14% of GDP or 8% of GDP, it is actually a huge cost that we are incurring, and we need to focus on that. It is in this context of the PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan October 2021 and the Logistics Policy 2022, which aims at cutting the logistics cost, that there was a need felt for a specialized, talented manpower for the sector, a sector which is too huge. And that is when, through the Act of Parliament in 2022, the Gati Shakti Vishwavidyalaya was created. Gati Shakti Vishwavidyalaya's focus, it is a specialized university, it is focused on entire transportation sector, that is railways, roads, highways, ports, shipping, aviation, waterways, all forms of transportation and logistics. So that is the context in which this central university was set up last year by the Parliament of India.
Thank you. That's a very, very fascinating story of how it all started. And this morning, when I was meeting Professor Choudhary for a coffee, I said, look, first of all, the India's logistics industry is going to drive our growth till 2047 and beyond. In order to build an university like that, I can imagine what a school curriculum looks like. I can imagine what a college curriculum or an engineering college curriculum looks like. How does the curriculum in Gati Shakti University look like? What does it comprise of? Is it all engineering? Is it very specific, like a trade school? Is it management? Is it all of it? So on that question, if you can just tell us what it looks like to be in that university.
Having worked in the industry for 21 years myself, till 2021, and having collaborated with several institutes across India, and all the discussions that we have had so far, that our academia are not industry linked, industry academia have to work strongly together. The first thing, as a founding vice chancellor of this university, that I had before me was, what is the vision of the university? To me, a 21st century university cannot be anything but industry driven or innovation led. Therefore, industry driven and innovation led is the vision statement of our university. What is the meaning of industry driven? Industry driven means industry must be involved from day one in defining the curriculum. Industry must be involved in partly imparting that curriculum, so that industry has a choice of hiring those graduates which are skilled to the needs that it have. Industry should not spend 1 or 2 or more years of training post hiring generalists from different institutes, as is currently happening today. Therefore, our goal is industry driven. How did we do that? In the entire transportation sector, as I mentioned, we started with railways first. For railways, we took the inputs of all the production units of Indian Railways. Indian Railways is one of the biggest employer in India, having 12 lakh people. It has 70,000 kilometer track length and is rapidly transforming itself through indigenous technology and trains like Vande Bharat and so on. Indian Railways is all about technology. When we talk to different production units and the industries that are involved in the railways, industries, for example, like Siemens or L&T or Alstom or Deutsche Bahn, these are all big railway-related industries, ABB and so on. The inputs that we received is that we cannot create a curriculum that looks like just another engineering program. We wanted to focus on both the technology and management aspects of the program. We prepared a BTech curriculum. I will talk very salient features of that, and MBA curriculum. Our MBA curriculum focuses on 2 major specializations. One is logistics and supply chain management, and other is on transport economics and management. Therefore, uniquely designed for the unique mandate that we have. Our BTech curriculum, whose entry criteria is JEE Mains, the degree names are similar to that of top IITs. For example, a BTech in civil engineering would study almost 80% of the content in a similar manner as IIT Bombay or IIT Delhi. However, with a specialization of railway engineering, that is the only unique one from us, a person will study 20% as a specialization in rail engineering. That 20%, for example, will be railway track technology, railway station design, cargo terminal design, railway bridge technology, railway tunnel technology, and so on. Similarly, a person in BTech in electronics and communication engineering, 80-85% content will be same, like that of IIT Delhi or IIT Kanpur, like analog electronics, digital electronics, communication system, signal processing, image processing. But 20% of the component, which is for railway engineering specialization, will have railway signaling systems. It will have communication-based train control, European train control system, coverage, cyber security. Therefore, This curriculum is the only curriculum in India specific to such a large sector like railways. This is the first starting point that we did. We started BTechs in civil engineering, mechanical engineering, electronics engineering, electrical engineering, all with specialization related to railways. First, we started also a BTech program in AI and data science. How can a 21st century university not look at what is happening around it? But this program is again a specialization focus. BTech in AI and data science has a focus specialization in transportation and logistics. What that means is aspects related to optimized route planning or that of predictive asset maintenance, which are some of the biggest applications of the AI and data science in transportation and logistics sector. So we started rail-related program. Question is, who will teach these programs? Apart from regular faculty members who will teach the regular programs, we roped in a large number of serving and retired railway officials, right? Senior railway officials, people who have been practicing in the field, people who are working in the rail industry to teach these programs. Each of our BTech program, for example, has a mandatory internship after first, second, and third year. So almost 13 weeks are in our industry are internships. After first year, a student goes to 2 or 3 weeks of internship at any of the railway production facility. After second year, 4 to 6 weeks at any of the railway PSUs, for example, like IRCTC, RITES, IRCON, IRFC, and so on, and any private industry. After third year, 6 to 8 weeks, the student is free to go to any of the private sector or anywhere else. The goal is that we want to make sure that specialization of rail that we are talking about is thoroughly inbuilt, and our university delivers what is needed for the rail industry. We also got a national mandate from Indian Railways to train all their probationer service officers. So currently, Indian Railway hires officers from Indian Civil Service exam, Indian Railway Management Service officers. During their probation period, Gati Shakti Vishwavidyalaya has a mandate, and we have defined the curriculum for them. We are delivering the content to them, and also the evaluation component for the probation period. So all serving officers of Indian Railways shall be trained by us. Further, the Railway Ministry enabled us. They enabled us how? So far, all Indian Railway Service officers are undergo trainings at different centralized training institutes all across India. Whether mechanical engineering, there is an institute in Jamalpur. Traffic management, there is an institute in Lucknow. Signaling and telecom, there is an institute of railways in Sikandrabad. Civil engineering in Pune. Electrical engineering in Nashik. The infrastructure of all these centralized training institutes has been enabled for Gati Shakti Vishwavidyalaya in an integrated manner, so that in future we can work in hub and spoke model. We have different campuses all around the country, and therefore we can carry out a large mandate. So far I talked about railways. Going ahead, in the industry-driven approach, what did we do? Second thing we did, on 7th of September, we signed an MOU with the leading airline company, Airbus. As we know, Airbus and Boeing are the two biggest airline companies. Airbus is setting up India's first aircraft manufacturing facility for C-295 family of aircraft in India. A total of 56 C-295 aircraft will be procured by Indian Air Force, out of which 16 will come manufactured outside. 40 of them will be manufactured and assembled in India. That facility will be set up by Tata Advanced System with Airbus as the technology partner. The MOU that Gati Shakti Vishwavidyalaya had signed on 7th of September with Airbus will now enable us to offer programs related to aerospace and aviation sector. What are the programs? If I have to just talk very few highlights, it is very easy to talk about big things, but my goal is to look at what are the more realistic things and where we start. For example, India's aviation sector is growing rapidly. It is expected and anticipated that for aircraft maintenance, 27,000 engineers will be needed by 2030 in India. There is no training program in India that looks at aircraft maintenance. We cannot talk about design, we cannot talk about R&D unless we really know the basics of how it has to be maintained. Right? Similarly, safety engineering. So we are currently in the process of developing several programs in collaboration with Airbus, where experts from Airbus Training Academy in France are involved. And we are going to launch these programs very soon. We are aiming at Wings India conference that will happen in the January of this year, a very large aviation event, and we will launch these programs at that point of time. Similarly, for the port and shipping sector, 17th of October, there was a big event, Global Maritime India Summit. It was in Mumbai, inaugurated by Honorable PM. At that event, we signed an agreement with the Indian Maritime University, that is a central university under Ministry of Port, Shipping and Waterways. Through that MOU, we will jointly offer programs related to port and shipping logistics. Therefore, the point I am trying to highlight is that as a founding Vice Chancellor, I am very clear, I do not want to do things alone. I do not want to do things in isolation. I would rather build partnerships and work in synergy from where it exists, because that is essentially the Gati Shakti spirit. Gati Shakti plan was launched in 2021 so that 16 ministries and 42 departments can work in cohesion. My goal to build Gati Shakti Vishwavidyalaya is the true spirit of Gati Shakti plan. Similarly, through a very, very big national mandate, on 4th of October, Ministry of Commerce and Industry and their logistics division called DPIIT, Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, in the presence of Honorable Minister Sri Piyush Goyal ji and Sri Ashwini Vaishnav ji, a MOU was signed with Gati Shakti Vishwavidyalaya. Through that MOU, Gati Shakti Vishwavidyalaya shall be the central nodal agency to train state administrative service officers and central administrative service officers all across the departments where infrastructure is needed, whether in power or telecom or food and civil supplies, wherever logistics is there, across all the state capitals, across all the central administrative service officers. We shall do that in collaboration with several leading institutes of India. Being the nodal agency, we have already signed an agreement with IIM Mumbai, which is NITI, known as NITI, which is offering a lot of programs in logistics and supply chain. We have signed MOUs with IIT Gandhinagar and IIT Jodhpur recently, and we are in the process of identifying the right kind of partners to take this national mission forward. To summarize, this industry-driven approach in each of the sector that we are doing, we have already started programs for railways, bachelor's program, MBA programs. Next year we will launch MTech programs, PhD programs, all based on the sector inputs that we have gotten, all based on the synergies with the sector. So we are industry-driven and we are moving towards that mission. Rarely, and I do not remember of any other university or IIT or IIM or any other institute in India which perhaps has a direct linkage to the national development policies such as ours. And therefore, I feel privileged to have this opportunity to set up this whole university that has a direct linkage to national development.
Thank you. That was fantastic. I mean, what I'm hearing is that your mission is so sharp, the mission statement. It's industry-driven, very rare for an Indian university, and you're driven by collaboration and partnership. So some of the folks who are sitting here, who are startup founders, the CXOs and so on, one of the questions I got from a young man when I was walking in, he said, look, how can we small startup? We are not Airbus, we are not Boeing, we are not IIT Bombay. I'm a small startup. How do I work with Gati Shakti University to develop something very specific that may be innovative? Is the innovation program, how does anyone get in touch?
We are very new, but nayi soch, nayi pehel. We already have 5 patents that are granted to our university in the month of September this year. We are hardly 10 months old. On 15th of September, the Engineers Day, we already started the incubation and entrepreneurship center at our university in the presence of leading industries, as I mentioned, Placer India, Siemens, L&T, all of them were present on the launch of that. The goal is simple. We not only want to create graduates who aspire for a job, but also, as is the startup mission, how can we create job creators? So in this whole segment, when a Vande Bharat train, for example, is made, Vande Bharat train is an example of very modern and complex engineering, right from the aspects on how it runs to how it automatically door is closing and various facilities. In each and every aspect, of course, this is a system, and system has many components. Therefore, startups have a significant role in developing those components or solutions. This is not purely software. A train, just like as we know, an automotive is 45% component is electronics and semiconductor. Similar is the case for train. 2-3 days back, I think I was at the India Mobile Congress and participated in a panel related to semiconductors. And I highlighted to them that as India is moving towards semiconductor manufacturing, one of the important aspects that we should consider is for the railways. Railways this year budget, just an example, is 2,40,000 crore rupees. Roads budget this year is 2,80,000 crore rupees. Huge investments are happening in that. And these are all technology enabled, technology driven. Therefore, if we have to even set up a semiconductor manufacturing in India, we have to identify low-hanging fruits that are needed, for example, for railways, so that we can do local needs to local design, to local manufacturing, to local deployment, and create a circular model within India. I see that significant opportunities lie for startups and entrepreneurship. Having formally set up an entrepreneurship cell and incubation cell of our university, I invite all the startups and all the industry to join hands with us, and we will provide an enabling environment. In our first executive council is the highest decision-making body of the university. If we were industry-driven, we wanted to be very clear. Despite we are in industry, we do not want to be having all our decision-making bodies filled with academicians. So who do we have in executive council? Just to name, out of 11 members, of course, Vice Chancellor is an ex-officio chairperson, so leave that apart. We have head of Airbus in India as a member, head of Siemens in India as a member, CTO of IBM is a member, chairman of Aadhaar, currently an Axis Bank chief executive is a member, CMD Rail Vikas Nigam Limited is a member. We have representations at the secretary level from Ministry of Railways, Ministry of Shipping. We have Director of IIT Gandhinagar and Director of IIM Bangalore as the member. Therefore, it is a superior mix of top industry people, government people, and the academies trying to put together and define the vision and the decisions for the university. To summarize, we have already started incubation and entrepreneurship cell. We already, in first year itself, we set up our first technical festival, which was a huge success with Airbus, IBM, and Ultratech playing a very big role. Our AI program, I forgot to mention, basically curriculum is developed in partnership with IBM, because IBM is one of the biggest leaders in AI and quantum technologies. So we define the curriculum in partnership with them. So every single area we are looking for partnerships which are meaningful. It is in this context that I want to add, having worked in industry, I set up more than 10 academic collaborations with different IITs or institutes. In the last 2 years in academia, I set up an equal or large number of collaborations with industry. One gap that I saw in industry-academia relationship is, it so far has been more on giver-taker model, that industry gives and academics will deliver some solution to a problem that industry has. I personally believe that for academia-industry relation to be meaningful and more tangible outcome, it has to transform from a giver-taker model to a co-creator and co-developer model. Because unless that is involved, whatever academia develops, if it is not used in the industry, then it is merely a paper or a patent that comes of it, rather than a solution going into industry and solving the problem on the ground.
Thank you, Professor Choudhary. Your story is so inspiring. Your mission, your personal, it just shows, right, your personal ambition to drive India towards the Mission 2047 and the speed of execution at which you are delivering things is truly inspirational. I'm sure we could have spoken for an hour and the audience would have been as energetic and as engaging, but our time is up a little bit. Anything more? I want to ask you one last question, and under a minute because it says time up. How do you stay so inspired, so fresh, so driven every single day?
It is all about an opportunity to create a legacy. And very rarely in our life we get such an opportunity. Before me is an opportunity to create a world-class university in a sector that has so far been untouched. We might not live for decades also, but universities live for centuries. And I think that is the passion that gives me the Gati and Sakti to create Gati Sakti.
Thank you, Professor Choudhary, and thank you, the audience. This was a very, very engaging discussion. We look forward to hearing you again soon in another event nearby.
Thank you so much.